Hey everyone, how are we doing? Hope you're doing pretty good. So here I'm just going to show you how easy it is to turn castor oil into something even more healing than she is. So just to start off with, castor oil is made from the castor bean, and it's been used for a real long time. Most people know her as something that like pregnant women are ill-advised to take to make themselves go into labor. Please don't do that. But or to give yourself violent diarrhea. Let's be real here. Don't use castor oil internally, please. But externally, she is amazing for skin. She can really pull out some pretty serious issues. And today we're making a calendula infused oil because castor is amazing at kind of dissolving scar tissue, built up tissue, but so is calendula. So together they make a pretty amazing ally. So really any castor oil will do. I prefer the expeller pressed and the hexane free. And most stuff comes that way anymore. You might find stuff that's not hexane free, which is just a problematic alkaloid in the plant ally is castor. You might find some in like an old school like pharmacy where they just have those like tiny little bottles, but just go on to Amazon or somewhere like that, and you can also go into Walmart. But just just note that it's hexane free. Anyhow, so all we're going to do is take our jar and our calendula, and really this could apply to any herb that you're wanting to work with externally. And you're just going to fill up your jar. Now, I like to use dried or very well wilted plant matter when I'm making oil infusions. I know that normally people say like, the fresh plant matter makes better oil infusions, and I mean, I guess in the 6-week time frame it does, but if you're going to let your dried plant matter sit longer than your wet plant matter is allowed to, I personally believe, and my own experience says, that your oils will actually end up stronger if you're using dried plant matter and letting it sit longer versus wet plant matter and having to let it sit for a short amount of time. So I like to use dried plant matter, and then that also allows me to use heat. Now heat is kind of important with calendula because she has these resins that really require heat to be extracted. And so, I mean, or alcohol, but we're not doing alcohol here today. And so I can take this, I guess I should have had this open before I got going, and then I can just pour my castor oil over top of her. Boy, they really taped that good, didn't they? Dang. Alright. And I'm just going to fill my jar up to the top. Now, this applies to any jar that you're using, any size that you're using. You definitely don't need to make this amount. You can do a small amount. The cool thing about castor oil is that it can be used if you're doing a castor oil pack, which is what we're making this to use for. It can be used, I mean, if you're using it on something like infectious, you wouldn't really want to reuse it, but if you're using it just to like do away with like scar tissue or scarring, you can reuse that towel that you have soaked in the castor oil at least 3 or 4 times. You could probably get away with using it a few more times over that too. Basically, all we're doing is putting our calendula or whatever fresh plant matter or dried plant matter shit you want to use in your jar. You're pouring your castor oil over top of it, you're putting a lid on it, and you're setting it somewhere warm and dark for at least 8 weeks. You can do longer. Now I like to use seed heating mats. They're fantastic. They're just like an ambient temperature of about 72 degrees at the base all the time, and they're cheap online, and they're just fantastic for helping things infuse well. Resist the urge to sit it in the sun and do a sun infusion. I know it's so pretty and it makes the colors come out so quick, but the sun is your enemy as soon as you're a dead plant, because she begins to break down your structure as like one of the most powerful decomposers there is. So it may look pretty, but you actually end up with something that has way less herbal properties in it. So just resist the urge to do sun infusions. And besides, it's wintertime, and if you're watching this in the wintertime, you're not going to get much warmth from that sun anyways. You're just going to break down your plant material. But then, so after that infusion time, I'm just going to strain her. You know, and you can use some cheesecloth, whatever you want to use, just strainer, and then you can put the soaked herbs out in your garden wherever you want, and then you retain the castor oil, and then you'll take that castor oil and you'll warm a little bit up. Either use the stovetop or an oven safe dish to warm up some of the oil. Don't burn yourself because you're going to be putting this on your skin. And then you're going to take, you know, an old washcloth or some cotton material or something like that, and you're going to dip it in the warm oil. You're going to put that soaked oil rag wherever you're wanting on your body. Like, I've been dealing with a pretty nasty injury on my finger right here. It's not an external injury, it's an internal one. And so I just wrap my finger in the castor oil pack, and then the trick is to apply heat to it. So I put the oily rag around my finger. And it's more sticky than oily, to be honest. Castor oil is kind of sticky. And then I put saran wrap around it. Anything that's going to keep that oil from soaking out. And then I put a heating pad over my finger, and I let that sit for about 35-45 minutes. So you could do this with scarring, like old cesarean scars, acne scars. If you've got scar tissue buildup from an old surgery site or anything like that, castor oil pack over top of it, some type of liquid proof barrier to keep that oil in place, and it also helps hold the heat in, and then some type of heating pad over top. And that's just really, really helpful. And you know, the trick with castor oil is to be consistent. You know, you're not going to see a change in the first day. You might not even see a change in the first few weeks. You'll probably start noticing some difference around the first month of use. But you know, with herbal allies and herbal medicine, we have to be patient, you know, and generally when we're not patient and we start looking for things that are in the herb world that can act quick, we end up hurting ourselves because we're into the dangerous pharmaceutical area where we are equating reaction with healing. Like, you think that just because something changed on your body or how you feel rapidly that you've healed, but really you're just kind of trading in one thing for another. But look how simple that was. You're definitely smart enough to get yourself some castor oil, to get yourself some calendula, and combine the two in a jar and sit it in a warm, dark place for like 8 weeks. You know, I think you're smart enough to do that, and I'd probably fight anybody who told you you weren't. Anyhow, so, you know, of course, you want to label it. You start making a bunch of these, or you've got tinctures and other oil infusions going on. You don't want to be like, what was that? Maybe you have a calendula body oil that you're infusing right now, and you've got yourself this calendula castor oil. Really, they're going to look the same in the jar. So labels are important. I make my own labels, just like with the Avery label program. If you go and buy labels at like Walmart or something like that, you know, like the shipping labels that are like address labels, you know, the small ones, you'll get free access to their designing program. And then you just come in there, and I put on here on mine, and you can make yours however you want. I make mine say tincture, honey, oil infusion, other. The date it began, if it's wild crafted, if it's store-bought, or if it's a mix. Generally, sometimes I have to write down how many ounces per what. I usually only do that if it's a new recipe. If not, I can just add my batch number to it and recipe number and all this other stuff that you don't have to do if you're not like producing for other people. But I'd have the name on there, if I wildcrafted it, where did I get it from, and all that information is just really helpful. But you can also just take a piece of masking tape and write on there calendula, castor oil, and then the date. You saw me do a weird face look there because I went to write December, and I was going to write December in this tiny little spot instead of write the number 12. So, and then I'm going to check oil infusion, and then I'm just going to take my label and I'm going to stick it on the jar. And just like that, I've made an herbal infused castor oil. It's so easy. It's so easy. And again, you can do this in a small amount of jar. You can make all different kinds. Definitely, I'll probably be on here making more videos, but like For my finger, I'm not actually using a calendula infused one, I'm using a comfrey infused one. You can do all kinds of things. You could make, maybe you suffer from ovarian cysts. Calendula packs are amazing. Like, yeah, it gets down that deep. It can get down and really pull some stuff out, especially with the heat applied. You could do a chickweed infused one to help with those ovarian cysts. You really, your imagination and your curiosity and wondering how these plant allies can help us, and like I'd say do one at a time. That way you know like how it's reacting to your body and what she can do, and she can do specific things versus jamming a bunch of stuff in the jar. But it's just an amazing simple way to take care of yourself and your family. Now also, aside from like scar healing and all that, castor oil is a pretty common ingredient in most like hydrating cosmetics. A little goes a very long way. So maybe you're like, oh, my face is covered in acne scars and I can't. You don't want to put plastic and a heating pad all over your face. You can start just taking small amounts of this and rubbing it on your face in the evening. It will take longer than if there's heat involved, but castor oil does her thing regardless of if there's heat. Heat just makes it into like a castor oil pack. And calendula is great for resolving scars no matter how you use her, basically. So anyhow, if you like these impromptu videos, if you like me just jabbering on, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking that little bell icon down below. Like and comment. Not only does it help me know that you're here with me, it helps other people see my videos because the algorithm deems them worthy to show other people. Come find me on Instagram. Come find me on my website. I try to give out a lot of safe, simple, free information. And I'm pretty active. Right now I'm taking an Instagram break, but like just for like a week or so. But that also means I'll probably be posting the stories because I never actually take a break. And if you're watching this video, I was only taking a break at the time of posting. Posting this video. That went sideways. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and remember, you are definitely smart enough to do this, and you do not need to pay anybody thousands of dollars to teach you safe, simple herbalism. You just have to get curious and believe that you're smart enough to retain the knowledge you read. Alright, so I will see you next time, okay? Bye.